What's up, everybody? Welcome back to DeFIRE AMA. It is June the 2nd, and today we're going to talk a little bit about ongoing construction of the Blazed app. But first, I want to start off with a question. Um, what are your thoughts on what's the best way to onboard to crypto in the context of DeFi? So think about the context here. We are developing the Blazed app so that anybody can deposit USDC, possibly DAI, but definitely USDC directly into the container, and then the container, and then the smart contract distributes that into swapping for the tokens and depositing, staking, um, auto compounding, etc. But all that an investor needs to do is to stake USDC. So, with that in mind, if you were a new investor, what would be the best way to create a frictionless experience getting to DeFi from an exchange? So, I'm in the US. So I'm going to use the example of US exchanges, right? So for us, there's multiple different options, but we're talking about the ones that have the highest visibility. We're talking Coinbase, Crypto.com, um, Binance, um, KuCoin, Kraken, maybe. There's a few others, but I would say that the biggest ones are definitely Coinbase and Crypto.com, right? And between the two, Crypto.com has a little bit lower fee for buying and selling, just by a little bit. Although it might be a little bit quicker to get your to onboard your fiat with Coinbase. I'm not sure. They're pretty close. But anyway, so one thing I don't know if everyone realizes is that you can buy Phantom and or FTM and AVAX to their native chain through crypto.com. And you can also buy USDC, which is on chain either on Phantom or on Avalanche or Polygon. So I don't think that's the case with Coinbase. With Coinbase, you can certainly like buy Avalanche that's native to Avalanche, the C chain, and then you can bridge that to your MetaMask wallet, and then bridge to whatever other blockchain you want to get to and swap for USDC. But you can't swap USDC out of Ethereum, out of an ERC20 that's native to Ethereum. So, from my money, the the easiest, most frictionless way for a new investor, and this may not, if you're not in the U.S., then this is not necessarily going to apply. It could be that Binance is the easier method, but assuming that we have a pretty large investor base comparatively, like a larger share in the West, than that, or in the Americas, I would say, maybe in Europe. But so for the U.S. investor, the fastest way is going to be to uh, onboard fiat, crypto.com, and buy enough of whichever native chain token they need for gas. So Polygon or Matic, AVAX, or FTM, right? And then at the same time, buy as much USDC as they want to deposit on Blaze, uh, either native USDC to Phantom, Avalanche, or Polygon, and then they're done. They can either keep that in their DeFi wallet, their Crypto.com DeFi wallet, and deposit directly from there, because you can upload, like the DeFIRE token or other like tokens onto that wallet. It's not as intuitive as MetaMask, but you can do it. And then at a later date, when they're more thoroughly versed in crypto, they can switch to another wallet. And so that all they have to do is buy directly from that exchange, and they'll not have to go to a swap. They won't have to bridge any of that other stuff that's confusing initially to investors. So in my mind, that is currently, at least for the U.S., that is the easiest way to onboard to um, to DeFIRE anyway. But if somebody else has a better idea, I would love to hear it. So if anyone listens to this and want to drop a comment in the questions channel, I would love to hear if somebody has a better way. Because if not, like in our white paper, you know, in our Git book, um, my inclination is to use that as an example of how to onboard to whichever chain they need to. Because I mean, buying, the fees are pretty low for a centralized exchange on crypto.com. And, so you can buy any three of those really cheap um, tokens, compared to Ethereum in their respective USDC. And then you just go and you hit stake once you connect to the DApp and get into whichever container you need to. That's about as easy as an onboarding experience as I can think of. The only thing that could be easier is if you somehow were able to make it just an Ethereum token, and so then people could buy from Coinbase or wherever. They didn't have to worry about the chain at all. And the only way that that would be possible is if we made a deal for. There are certain exchanges that are based on Ethereum that do offer reimbursements on gas if you hold a certain number of their native token, which is certainly an option that I've thought about, and we may still do it just because when we probably we will try to do it because of the fact that when we try to do strategies that are with protocols native to Ethereum, it'll just make sense if we need to bridge. Even if you're using Stargate is like incredibly cheap, like at this point anyway, with the current cost of Ethereum, and we're talking about a couple of months now until potentially the merge happens. So assuming that we don't have a huge pump and go back into a bull market, which really does not seem uh, likely at this point, then Ethereum should continue to be reasonable. I mean, gas prices, and so we may have some. It may make sense to go ahead and try to get some of that Ethereum gas subsidized through a partnership. The other thing that's an option is out there is that it is possible to use a SDK that's pre-coded into a smart contract for the protocol to pay gas fees up front, and then the protocol covers the gas fees on the back end similarly in a reimbursement. The protocol would pay a discounted fee, and in that case, we could um, you know use a transaction fee to cover those costs, assuming that we're just working on Phantom, Avalanche, and Polygon for the majority of the MVP strategies or containers. And then in the future, we may have to think about how else we could do it. But that would also allow us to only need to help people onboard gas in order to make their initial or no, they wouldn't need to buy Matic, FTM, or AVAX potentially if we did it that way. All they would need is USDC in any on any chain except for Ethereum. And when you do that on crypto.com, you can do that straight into your wallet with no need to like transfer or bridge or anything if you have the crypto.com DeFi wallet. So these are things I've been thinking about as we're trying to make decisions on the structure of the app. Had another meeting with Tin Clouds this week. I had a meeting this morning with our front end developer, Pro Harvester, who's been a little bit under the weather and had some family issues. But now we're cracking. We're hoping to get some good progress done on the front page of the DAP by this weekend, and then we'll be moving on to more secondary pages and the details of the individual containers. Um, and after that, what else? Had a meeting again with Owls briefly. I think Firefly had that. At this point, they're just working on finishing up the motion graphics part of it. All of the decisions on graphics are all done. Color schemes, all of the other parts of it, that's done. Fonts, everything else. They even have the text for the most part uh, laid into the wireframe. There's a couple of tweaks that we made this week. I believe that Firefly forwarded some edits there, but that at this point it's just a matter of waiting for the design team to finish that up. That's basically all done. We're just waiting to get the finished product. So that'll be exciting to see all of that. We'll definitely update all of the graphics across our different socials um, really quick here. And after that, it's mostly just been business to business stuff. We're still looking at different methods of deepening liquidity. I believe that Akshay Toshi is working on the next on finalizing the community sale contract. That took a little bit longer than we had hoped for, but we should have some announcement on that very soon. And then above and beyond that, um, we are just trying to do some networking, not just with other protocols, but also we're continuing to do partnership outreach. We definitely are looking at a handful, or maybe not quite a handful of partnerships with protocols for containers, but we're also looking at how we can partner on different services to again make things easier for people to onboard and to use our services in the DAP. So that nothing to specifically to announce as an update, but definitely there are things ongoing um, in terms of just trying to connect with people and protocols. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably have more updates on in that front. But this is a building time. Markets kind of continue to go sideways, even though from day to day it may seem like big jumps or drops, but um, it doesn't it doesn't look like we're missing a big pump at this point. So it's a good time to be building because there's probably a couple more months of uncertainty before we have a real trend going. Um, so if you're going to be building, this is the time, and so we're well timed on that. Um, just moving as fast as we can behind the scenes. Um, People take time to get back to you. Everyone's got their own building that they're trying to do. That's the one. Challenge is that people foundations are expanding their teams, but most of the actual protocol teams are kind of at a set point. I guess a couple of them may be expanding, but for the most part, people are kind of sticking to what they've got. They're not deploying any extra capital at this point. They're all focused on using as much time as they can to build as well. So, communication's been a little bit slower lately. And so that's also, affecting us because trying to communicate with people and set up meetings and whatnot takes longer sometimes than would be ideal. Within our own team, we can communicate at a certain speed, but then, the more people you have involved in any particular project, the longer it takes. So, um, you know, problems to have really. Everything as far as the plan and the architecture and the execution is still moving forward. Feeling good about that, and yeah, so just feeling grateful to be in the position that we're at, and grateful for your support. Um, Grateful for your patience, um, and looking forward to being able to offer you something new, which, by the way, will be a new article posted in the next day or two by Pangolin K, which is always awesome. He does a great job of writing. He's definitely a great asset for our team, and so hopefully we can get back in the swing of publishing more articles here. Um, and Yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. I didn't really plan anything out. So I hope everyone's having a great week. I think I'll wrap it up there. If you do have any questions after you listen to this, go ahead and drop it in the questions channel in the Discord. Otherwise, have a great week and weekend, and we'll talk to you in the next one.